So I tried to date a strong, independent woman. And this is after I was dating I would call them Instagram models. And I was that guy sliding into the DMs. Hey, what's up? And then I would date these girls. And you wonder, who's taking these photos of these chicks? It was fucking idiots like me doing it. And you know the girl I'm talking about, be the change you wish to see in the world. You know that one. I'm 22 and I want to influence people. What have you done with your life that you can influence people? I want to know. I want to influence people. So I used to date that, and then I turned into a human selfie stick, so I had to move on. And I started dating more, I guess, mature women. And I met this woman. She had a kid, so, that makes me a motherfucker. And I was like, when can I see you again? And she's like, well, I'm busy, but if you want, you could do a bike race with me, and it's for charity. And I was like, oh, great. And come to find out, so this woman hadn't had sex in 2 years. 2 years. So at that point, it felt like community service, It was show up to this bike race. I'm like, bike race for charity, no problem. I even made a bet. The loser has to buy the winner a drink. She's like, okay. She's like, if you're good, you can finish the race in 4 hours. It took me 8 hours to finish this race. And it was the race where you, like a real bike race, where you do the entire race on the little thin seats, like you're doing the whole race on your prostate, you know what I'm talking about? And I show up to this bar, and I'm trying to work up the courage to ask her to get out of here. And then she just looks at me, takes pity on me, and she's like, do you want to go back to my place? And I'm like, what about the drinks? And the roles definitely reversed, because I was just like, okay, let's get out of here. And we end up back at her place, and it's on. You can feel it. But it's been a while, so I wanted to take things slow, ask her for consent, because you have to do that. You have to ask a woman for consent before you go inside. You must get an enthusiastic yes. Otherwise, it's a crime. An enthusiastic yes. So who here has had a guy ask you for consent before he goes inside? 1, 2, 3, 4, and the rest of you just survivors? Is it different here in Norway? What do you say? Like, vill du ha lite kok or some shit? What a great language. Vill du ha lite kok? Do you guys do sexy talk in Norwegian, or you just shut the fuck up? You don't say anything. Just... Tusen takk. So I asked her, I was like, do I have your consent? And she just says, I'm going to jail. And I'm trying to be dominant and respectful, grab her by her wrist. I'm like, ma'am, do I have your consent? She's like, oh. And then she's like, we should stop. I was like, okay, what's wrong? She's like, I'm not prepared. I was like, you're not prepared? You're pussy? She's like, no. I'm like, it's a pussy, not a steak. What do you mean prepared? She's like, oh, it's a little bit hairy. I was like, hairy? I said, okay. How bad can it be? Let's see what you got. So I pulled down her panties, and then... Like, you ever see Jumanji, it's like, I was like, I really don't mind. I could still see the vagina. It's okay. She's like, I'll be right back. I was like, okay, I don't really mind. She goes to the bathroom to shave. And 45 minutes later, she comes back because the drain kept clogging because there was so much hair. And I was like, oh, look at that. I don't even recognize you anymore. And so I'm thinking like, okay, it's been 2 years. Why? And she says, well, I haven't found a guy who knows how to touch me the right way to get me there. And I was like, okay, so what have you been using instead? Like, do you do it like yourself? Are you like autonomous, like a Tesla? Like, how do you do it? She says, I've been using toys. And I was like Legos? She says, no, sex toys. And I was like, well, what do you have? So we go over to her dresser drawer, and every woman's got a few toys in there, but she had a plastic armory. You could invade Poland with some of this hardware. And there was shit that I didn't even recognize. I was like, how the fuck do you expect a man with a dick to compete with this shit? This looks like the iPhone 93. My dick has 2 settings, on, off, that's it. You can't compete with this shit. And so she pulls out her favorite, which is this one called the womanizer. Every time, I got one in my purse right now. If this show sucks, womanizer. A womanizer, for those of you, do you know what it is, bro? You have no. I have one. Don't worry. I bought one for my mother. It's fine. So a A womanizer is a little mini suction cup for the clit. It's like the most popular sex toy now, and it's been ruining relationships because it's so good, like you don't even need a man. And you strong, independent women, you don't need a man anymore. One thing will happen, he'll do something to piss you off, and you're just like, F you, womanizer. Get out. How do you compete with this? Dicks just go in and out. Now I got to show up with a Hoover vacuum. So she takes this thing. It's purple. You open it up, and it's just like, oh. And the look on her face, I'm like, is this it? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay. It comes with a remote for me to power it as well, so I could, and then she takes it and she puts it on herself. And I'm thinking, like, my legs can't really work because of the bike race, so at least I'm gonna have sex with her, and then the womanizer will do the other half, and then boom, I get credit for the orgasm, even though I did half the work. So I'm just waiting for my turn. She turns it on, and she goes, ah, ah. She gets so into it, she forgets all about me. Just closes her legs up, just wraps herself up in the sheets like a burrito, just and I'm just standing there holding my dick in the remote. That's it. I'm just pressing it. I'm like. I turn into like a motivational coach. I'm like, you can do it! Be the change you wish to see in the world! And then she's like, ah! I was like, did you come? She's like, yes, twice. I was like, good, don't worry about me. I'm fine. As long as you got there. I was pressing this full max, so I hope that helped. And she's like, that doesn't do anything. I was like, well, why'd you give it to me? And she's like, well, I wanted to feel like you were contributing, so there you go. You don't need men, strong, independent women. Just get a vibrator, scream your own name. That's all you gotta do.